Hey everybody, Jane here, and I'm going to be talking about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So, this is about a woman named Monique who is a journalist, and she is sent to interview Evelyn Hugo for the magazine that she's working at. She arrives and finds out that Evelyn Hugo doesn't actually want just an article in the magazine. She wants her biography written by Monique. Evelyn Hugo has had 7 husbands, and there's been a lot of controversy about why did she have 7 husbands. And she's chosen Monique to tell her story. This is a book that has been a huge YouTube darling, and I totally understand why. I did enjoy it a lot. It is one of the best written books I've read, period. But I gave it a 4 out of 5 because something just didn't quite touch me the way I wanted it to. I think a big part of it is that Evelyn Hugo is not a very good person. And so while I was sympathetic to her plight, I wasn't necessarily connected to her, but she's not meant to be. So, and Monique I liked, but I wasn't necessarily super connected to her either. I do recommend this book, especially if you're a writer. If you want to see an excellent example of a very well done character, a character that jumps off the page and seems like they could be real, Evelyn Hugo absolutely does that. Taylor Jenkins Reid does an amazing job with this book of having Evelyn Hugo seem real. You would expect to be able to go and watch her movies. You would expect to be able to go and see the different things that she talks about happening, the Academy Awards and things. All of the people in this book feel amazingly real. And that is probably the best aspect of this book and why it is so beloved by people. So yes, I am going to be doing a spoiler section in a minute, but if you haven't read this book, you probably should. I even recommend it on audiobook. It was very, very good. Some of the reveals at the end were, a few of the reveals at the end were kind of ones that I guessed, but a lot of them weren't, particularly the big one of why Monique was chosen. That totally was a shocker for me, and I will say I was a little confused by Monique's reaction, which I'll get into a little bit more in the spoilers. I'm going to spoil a lot of things in the spoilers, so if you want to know kind of what the Evelyn Hugo book is about, but don't really want to read the whole thing for whatever reason, maybe it's just not your cup of tea, feel free to watch the spoilers and kind of get a better idea of the whole story, because I'm going to spoil everything. Alright, go into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So, Evelyn Hugo, and I think this was a brave and smart and wonderful plot for this book. She is bisexual. And that is kind of why she's had all these husbands, barring a few. Most of them were so that she could be with her girlfriend. Evelyn Hugo, when we first meet her, her first husband is a man she marries just to get her to Hollywood. She's gorgeous, she has big boobs, and so this guy who is not expecting, any kind of proposition from a girl looking like that is absolutely thrilled. So she marries him to get ahead. And Evelyn does actually have a couple of instances in the book where she does just marry people to get ahead in her business. And I think one of the things that's hardest to deal with Evelyn is she's very selfish. And some of the selfishness, when she's doing things so that she can be with her girlfriend, I totally understood and liked it. But a lot of the other choices she made were kind of dumb. And I kind of wanted to shake her and be like, Evelyn, come on. So she was married. Her first husband is the guy who brings her to California. The second husband is, I believe, the only other one that she marries for romantic love. And that is a fellow actor. I can't remember his name because there's a lot of characters in this book, so keeping everybody straight was a little bit tough. She marries this guy who is a big name actor, and she's trying to break in, and basically being with him is her ticket to fandom. But he's a real asshole, and so they end up split. While they are split, she realizes that she has feelings for a girl who up until this point has been her really good friend, Celia St. James, who's been her really good friend up until this point. And suddenly there's a little more. She hears that Celia is a lesbian, and she starts having feelings for Celia. She doesn't consider herself a lesbian. She considers herself bisexual. And I believe in this book, mostly she just is with Celia as far as girls go. Like, I don't think there was any other girls that she had a relationship. It was kind of she generally likes men, but Celia is an exception. So then she gets with Celia, and shortly after, there's this rock star who says he wants to marry her. And when rumors start that her and Celia are a thing, she kind of goes and marries this rock star so that people will stop acting like her and Celia are a thing, because in Hollywood, that's a big issue. So she marries this guy and gets pregnant, and actually he divorces her and she has an abortion, and her and Celia have a huge fight about it because Celia is very, very jealous. Celia is always comparing herself, I think, to the men that Evelyn is with, and feels bad because she wants to give Evelyn everything Evelyn wants. And I think sometimes she doesn't feel adequate because she's a female and Evelyn is also a female, and Evelyn doesn't just like girls. She likes boys too. And I think Celia feels like she never really lives up to that. So Evelyn, that was husband number 3. Husband number 3 was a rock star. I can't remember now who husband number 4 was. Evelyn, I know at one point married a director on a film that she was on. And then she and him kind of fell out of love. And she started having an affair with Celia again. Celia, kind of throughout this book, is the real, true love of Evelyn's life. After her and Celia get back together, Celia marries a football player to hide who she is, and her football player husband is gay. And so Evelyn marries the football player's boyfriend, who's her friend, and so they're presenting as two straight couples. And people kind of think that they're spouse swapping, but they don't realize that it's the girls with the girls and the boys with the boys. The boys are not actually sleeping with the girls for the most part. Evelyn does decide she wants to have a baby, and so she does sleep with her husband to have a baby. But other than that, the boys are with the boys, the girls are with the girls, but Hollywood thinks they're just a really, really close, friendly couple. And she and Celia have a really good life together. This goes on for years and years and years, and everything's great. Then her and Celia have this big, terrible fight and breakup. Around this time, the football player dies. And so Evelyn and her husband get divorced because he doesn't really need to hide his secret anymore. And I mean, he's had a baby with her. He's proven he's a straight guy. And she's proven that, she's straight. And she's not having a relationship with Celia anymore. So she goes, and I don't remember husband number 6. Number 6 might have been another like business transaction type relationship. Again, she has a ton of those. She's just in it to get ahead in Hollywood. She wants to be the starlet. She wants to be amazing. At some point in the book, Henry, who is the husband that she has a child with, he's killed in an automobile accident. While he was in that automobile accident, he had a passenger. And that passenger is Monique's dad. So Henry, which is Evelyn's ex-husband, was having an affair with Monique's dad. Monique's mom didn't know that he was gay, and Monique had been raised believing that her dad was an alcoholic or died from drinking alcohol and driving. In actuality, Henry had been the one drinking alcohol and driving when the car was crashed, but Evelyn, like, the worst thing Evelyn ever did in her life was to switch out the body of Monique's dad for and take Henry to a hospital. Like, Monique's dad was dead. There wasn't anything it could do to solve that. But then Monique grew up thinking her dad had died from drunk driving. And I will say, that's the big reveal of why Evelyn chose Monique to work with her. She wanted to do something for Monique to kind of make up for that terrible thing she did. But I will say, like, I felt Monique kind of overreacted to this issue. I mean, yes, her dad died. He didn't really die from drinking and driving, but he did die because he was having an affair. I mean, it wasn't like he was just an innocent bystander. He was having an affair with a guy, and that's why he died. And Monique's big hang up is, well, I wish I had known that he didn't die from being a drunk driver. And I just didn't really get why that was so important to her, because she gets so angry at Evelyn and basically for a minute hates Evelyn because Evelyn let her grow up thinking that her dad died from being a drunk driver instead of was found in a car with a man he was having an affair with. Like, yeah, that would have been the truth, but wouldn't that have been more mortifying to your family? Like, your dad's dead either way. Is the fact, would you really have rather grown up knowing that he was cheating on your mom with a guy? I just, like, the level of upset Monique is for this truth because Evelyn lied and made it look like her dad had been driving drunk, I didn't really get. I thought Monique had, like, I understood Monique was upset, but I felt like she should have been upset that dad was sleeping with another person and cheating on mom instead of being upset that, you know, oh, I thought my dad had died as a drunk driver and not because he was having an affair. So I didn't really understand that part of Monique. Anyway, eventually Evelyn reconnects with Celia a final time, and Celia is terminally ill. So Evelyn marries, her last marriage is Celia's brother, so that she can be with Celia, inherit from Celia, and, you know, they can live the rest of their life out as sister-in-laws, basically. So them being together and living with their sister-in-law is no big deal. There's no questions, no... People aren't going to be having rumors about her and Celia being lesbians. It's just going to be her and Celia. They can live the rest of Celia's life out together, and they do. And then Celia's brother will inherit her fortune when she dies, and that, due to spousal law, will belong to Evelyn. This raises so many good points about, you know, the prejudices about the LGBTQIA+++ community in the time. And I think that that is really brilliant and important that this book does that. The questions this book asks, the way it humanizes the complexity of the unfortunate and wrong laws we've had in this country, I mean, that can't be understated. This book is amazing for what it does. Oh, by the way, the other reason that Evelyn chose Monique, I think, is Evelyn is choosing after the biography is written to take her life because she has terminal cancer. And Monique had written an article about that, about people who are going through assisted suicide type thing. So I think she really felt connected to Monique, not just because of her dad, but also because Monique is an amazing writer, and Monique had written that article. So Evelyn Hugo is an amazing and complicated character. This book asks a lot of really important questions, and I'm not sure why it wasn't quite a 5 out of 5 for me. I definitely enjoyed it, and I cried at a couple places, but it didn't quite burrow in my heart the way I need it to for a 5 out of 5. I think part of it was Evelyn, she is very selfish. Except when Celia is concerned, and even sometimes when Celia is concerned, she's very selfish. She's very, how can I get what I want? How can I get ahead? How can I be a Hollywood starlet, basically, the best in Hollywood. And I think I didn't like that element of Evelyn, and that's why maybe I didn't connect with her plight. I felt like maybe if I could have connected with her better. I understood. I always understood why she did what she did. I just didn't always like it or condone it or appreciate it. I got it. I did understand it, and she was always had good motives. I just didn't always like the motives. So that was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you haven't read it, you probably should, because this is a really well-written, amazing book, and the hype is very, very accurate and worth it. Alright guys, this has been Jane. If you've read Evelyn Hugo, I would love your thoughts below. My social media is below if you'd like to connect with me off of YouTube. Also, by the way, I'm a novelist. I write mostly romances. If you would like to read any of my books, they are available on Kindle Unlimited, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and basically everywhere books are sold. So please check me out. Talk to you next time. Bye.